And we are live. Hello, everyone out there in Facebook land. This is Andrew Berman. You've joined us for another Mortgage Leadership Outlook. Today's apparel is sponsored by my good friend, Sam Parker, Tricia Parker, and the rest of the team over at Credit Guys. Definitely like the favorite credit repair agency in the industry. And with us today, we've got none other than the legendary Carl Markman himself, Director of Wholesale for REMN Wholesale, hero of wholesale for, like 70 years now you've been in wholesale?
Thanks, Andrew. Thank you very much for the introduction. Yes, about 70 years. I feel like I'm 70 these days.
I know. I think actually we've lived 70 years, actually, just in since
2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's been amazing. So listen, there's a lot I want to talk to you about. So now, right off the bat, I want to talk about your transition. So now, listen, and by the way, here's what we're not going to talk about today. We're not going to talk about capital markets. We're going to stay away from actually talking about the $2 trillion the stimulus package that just got thumbs up today. So it's moving along. We're not going to talk about any of that. We're going to talk about a couple of different things. First and foremost, I want to talk about your operation. You've been, and for the most part, you guys have been, in person, belly to belly for a lot of the company, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about that transition. I want to talk about also the messaging out there, because it's, you and I were talking before about how it's somewhat paralyzing, all these different messages. You have unbelievable leaders out there that are sharing a lot of information, but what do you absorb? When do you turn off? Like we hear actually some real doomsday scenario that can take you away and distract you from your day-to-day, which is important. Well, these things might happen, but you can't control it. So first off, let's start off with talking about your transition from being a company that's mostly belly-to-belly, face-to-face, to being a remote environment.
Well, first of all, I think it's important to bring up the fact that talking about what's going on in the secondary markets, margin calls and all that, it is very important. But like you said, you're hearing it from so many different people. You've got Frank Gray, right? National Real Estate Push. You've got Anthony Casa with AIM. You've got all these organizations giving some awesome information. And I think that's really important. But we only can control what we can control, right? So as loan officers, as brokers out there, as well as lenders. So we made a conscious decision initially up front when this whole thing got a hand in the States regarding the coronavirus, to make sure that our people were safe. So we made sure that everyone had the computers, their screens, their phones, everything was all set up remotely. And I have to tell you, I did a little video today for the operations team, just thanking them, because literally my account executives across the country telling me that it's almost as if everyone still is in the office. No one has missed a beat. And the problem here is that, right, we talk all the time, we travel a lot. I speak to brokers, and I'm with my account executives all the time. And if not, I'm in the office. Working from home, different ball game. You're dealing with kids, you're dealing with all sorts of stuff. And you literally feel like you're working around the clock today. So for all the loan officers out there and processors and account executives and operations people, my God, I mean, what an incredible job that everyone's doing. I think this long-term is going to change the game going long-term for everyone. Yeah. Being able to work remotely.
So let's talk about what's your day like. So, are you looking all this polished every day with your glasses perfectly straight, freshly shaved? It looks like your shirt was just pressed. I mean, is this the day-to-day look that we get with Carl Markman?
This is my pajamas. No, so, so no, typically, right, we get up at 5 in the morning, we go to some emails, we get our coffee, head to the office, or I'm out in the field. Today, I'm up at 5 in the morning, or sometimes 3:30 in the morning, because like our heads are kind of going crazy now, moving so quickly. And you wake up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon while you're on your computer and say, oh my God, I had a yogurt for breakfast at 6 and I haven't eaten all day. I'm still in I'm still in my shorts and t-shirt. I'm unshaven, and thank you. You made me shave today and put on a nice clean shirt, because we're in t-shirts today. So everything's changed, and I think we're becoming much more efficient, right, in our daily activities. The problem is the balancing act, balancing family life and work, because now, work is here at home, and it is difficult to balance that out.
Yeah, and so are you spending more time with your family because of that? Like, because actually you're so here actually you don't have to commute, and I know if the 4 o'clock comes around, you're like, oh crap, I didn't eat anything today. So are you spending more time with the family, or?
I wish you could have been at my house this morning, because my wife said to me, it doesn't make a difference anyway, we never see you anymore. Right. And today happens to be my youngest, my son's 20th birthday. Happy birthday, Jake. And I have not, this morning he opened his gift, right? These kids get up pretty late. He opens his gifts. I haven't seen him since. So tonight, after all this, we're doing a little happy hour kind of with his friends and parents and all that via, right, Zoom.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so that's after this call. But yeah, everything's changed. I'm literally not in my family's surroundings now. The weekend, hopefully we'll get some time, but yeah, everything's changed.
Now, do you normally have a workout routine or anything like that you normally do? And are you not able to do that because you're consumed by work from 4 o'clock in the morning till the time that you realize that, oh my goodness, I haven't eaten anything besides the yogurt today?
Yeah, you know what? Instead of every day, it's every 3 days now. And, I've gone out for some long walks just for a short time, but the running is off the charts right now. I can't do that. It's just, I can't stay away from the phones and the emails, which is unfortunate, but we'll get back to normal.
I want to understand, what are the conversations that you're having? Are your conversations, are you spending more time with your account executives, giving them leadership on what to say to brokers? Because listen, every company, there's been rumors about every company except REMN, by the way. How's REMN actually somehow no one's talking crap about you guys?
Yeah, but I would like to make this point, and I said this to you before this call, before we got on, and that is, you know what? In the past, right, our competition, right, we're better than they are. We can do things quicker, faster, pricing and all that. Today, this is affecting all of us. So I don't want any negativity being spread about anybody. And I tell my people that all the time. You hear rumors, just don't spread it. Don't be the spreader of negative news. Make sure that we're being positive. It's so important right now to communicate. And from our top level, our senior level management, I know Peter Norton, our CEO, is going to be on with you next Thursday. And I think that's really important. And he's going to discuss the secondary markets and also obviously what's going on right now. But it's so important to communicate with your people. So anyone out there, brokers, I don't care if you just have one processor or 5 LOs, or if you're a leader of a wholesale team, you've got to be in front of their face and let them know what's going on. And you have to say thank you. You can't assume, because everyone's working from home, they're working hard. You can't just assume that they know that you appreciate them, because you have to tell them. But yeah, it's different. Communicate. There's so many rumors, right? There's a rumor I just saw something going around the other day that, all government is going to be gone next, in sometime in April. And, there's some stuff that is scary out there. There's no question about it. But, these companies that are still around right now have phenomenal leadership. They've been through this before. We're all going to get through this. We really are. And I think the government is going to back us up. So control what you can control, but loan officers continue to write those loans, send those loans in. But I don't mean to drag this on, but I want to make one point to loan officers out there, and that is, if you submit a loan to a wholesale lender and you're locking that loan, it is so important to get that loan closed with that lender. When you start to move around locks and you cancel them and you blow those locks, it can really hurt a lender or a servicer. So just be cognizant of the fact that we're all part of, not necessarily hopefully the problem, but the solution to get us all through this.
Yeah, this is definitely the time. Well, it is super important now to make sure that you have options. You're signed up with, multiple wholesale lenders, but it's also you got to leverage your relationships and not put lenders that you have actually a relationship with in negative times like that. So I want to go deeper on the control what you can control thing, because that's a very, very difficult thing, because we are hearing so much. And I don't know about you, but I'm trying as much as possible to avoid the news, just as actually, the news started to become scarier than any movie that's ever been created. I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to focus on just the things that are going to impact me, my house, my community, and my industry. But like, so how do you actually instruct people, to keep focused, and to control what you can control?
I think perspective is a really good word. And I think that you can't ignore what's going on. It's affecting all of us in every community around the country. So I think it's important to be well-versed and know what's going on. I think it's really important for us to stay away from each other for a while, right? You can see I'm not in the office right now. You're not. I think it's important that, this country just rips the Band-Aid off, gets through this as quickly as possible so we can all get back to work, back to the office. I don't know what else to say about the fact that if negative news travels really quickly, and as salespeople, we love to kind of attach ourselves to negative news. But if you do that, you're just going to hurt yourself. I think that controlling what you can control as a loan officer right now is so important. Just like we're doing, we're in front of our potential customers. Make sure you're making phone calls, you're emailing, being in front of your customers, because once we all get out of this in the next however long this is going to be, weeks or months, we've got such an opportunity because business is really strong. Can you imagine if this didn't happen with this virus? This would be probably one of the best years on record between refis and purchases. We've got a combination here. There are most times as markets, it's a refi market or it's a purchase market. We've got both. What a fortunate situation we're in. And I feel terrible every single day. I hear the non-QM lenders that are going out of business, or not necessarily going out of business, being idle for now, right? And the jumbo market as well. Those lenders are going to come back. Those people are going to have jobs. And right now it's our responsibility that if they're not working, to help them out, to get them jobs, get them employed. But for the most part, we're going to be okay. And I think that we have to have that perspective, because if not, it's a scary, scary path you're going to drive down.
Yeah, and listen, so today, one of my favorite lenders, one of the biggest non-QM lenders, announced massive layoffs. Now, it does not mean that non-QM is dead. Because listen, are we going to see changes in products? 100%. But there are plenty of products. The just missed products. Basically a lot of the programs that were created, that were basically that are just outside of the QM standards. Those are there. ITN borrowers, they still need to be able. So maybe 2 months bank statements. Maybe some of those are going to actually we're not going to see those come back. But got some questions so yeah, I'm going to ask you this, and I know actually probably your answer to this, because you guys are in a pretty good position on this. How do you feel about government lending in the next few weeks? So we've talked about that before. How the death of government lending has already been actually announced as far as a date. But talk to us actually. What are your feelings about the chatter going on about government lending, in the next few weeks?
So I think that you've already seen changes, and I'm not going to mention company names, right? But they're big companies. They're announcing higher minimum FICOs, DTI restrictions, VOEs, right, in 2 or 3 days prior to closing versus 10 days. I think all that is going to happen, and I think that all of us, again, we are all in the same exact position as each other as lenders. So unfortunately, some people may or may not be able to get financing right now, but for the most part, and we've actually run some numbers, about 85 to 90% of the customers, that the loans that we're getting right now are not going to be affected really at all. So it's only a small percentage. So I think that, and again, this is just, it's so fluid right now on a daily basis. You can see the stock market and mortgage-backed security markets, right? Everything is moving so quickly that things can change in a dime. But right now, from everything that I know, I think that we're going to be okay as long as certain things happen. And some of that is in our control and some of that is not in our control. But today, right now, I think you're going to see some minimum FICOs go higher, the DTI restrictions and the VOEs.
Yeah. And specifically for REMN, let's talk about REMN actually, because that was, you guys are in a really good place when it comes to capital markets, the way your organization is set up. So talk to us a little bit about, government lending in the REMN world.
Sure. Well, first of all, I have to say, and I work very closely with the partners, the ownership of our company, and they all have their own little piece in the puzzle. And I don't think I would want to work beside another group of senior level managers anywhere else. And I'm not just saying this, I've been here, it's going to be 12 years on October 13th of this year. And the tenure at our company is just incredible. Senior leadership has gone through this on several occasions, obviously not this particular situation, a little craziness going on. It's so different than 9/11, 2008, right? This is so different, but the impact is pretty severe. What great minds and people that really care about their employees, and I think that's so important. But the changes from our perspective, I just had to announce today, I had a national sales call just not too long ago, Andrew, and I had to announce that our minimum FICO scores on government loans is going to be a 640 minimum FICO with a 43 DTI. Now, with that 43 DTI, if you've got 3 months or more of reserves, that goes to a 50 DTI. And there's going to be some hits and so forth. But the word that I used with our staff is this is all temporary. Once we get through this in the coming weeks or months, this will come back to somewhat normal. So this is a temporary situation.
Okay. You know, I screwed up. I totally forgot. Before we went live, I wanted to ask you about this, so I didn't put you on the spot and potentially embarrass you.
When this call's over, trust me, I'm going to remind you about this. But honestly, it's important. We're not hiding anything. I mean, full disclosure.
I know you are transparent AF. Yes. So there's no question about it. So that being said, so one of the things that REMN since day one always prided itself on is same day turn time. So talk to us actually. How close are you to being able to still do those same day turn times, considering everything is in a cluster F?
Okay, so we didn't talk about this, so thanks for bringing this up and putting me on the spot.
I'm so sorry.
I think we're like everyone else. We're about a month out on initial underwrites. No, so exactly. So we don't change it. We are always overstaffed on purpose all the time, and it's an expensive platform to have. I'm sure you know. So we did have to make some adjustments, which we've never done in the past. On refinances, the initial underwrites, we did put out a bulletin not too long ago that we are up to, not at, but up to 72 hours on refinances for initial underwrites. Purchases, still same day. Your file is uploaded before 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. You're going to get a same day approval by midnight that day. And if it's an after 11 a.m. Eastern Standard, then it's by 5 o'clock the following day. We always hold true to that. So our people, our staff is so in tune to make sure that happens because, right, you can't be in one day and out the other. So we're always going to hold true to that.
That's amazing. That's just phenomenal. Especially considering right now, the industry would probably forgive you, say, all right, fine, 72 hours, but that's amazing. Follow-up question from Michelle Vaughn here. She asked a question about government lending in a couple of weeks.
I love Michelle. She's awesome.
Love her energy, love her leadership, especially just sharing some great information during this. So she writes, what about manufactured home with high FICO and reserves?
We're still no changes at all. Still accepting.
Fantastic. Yep. Wonderful. Wonderful. Got some other questions here from the audience. It's my dad. We'll ignore him for a little bit.
Joel, how you doing?
All right. Michelle, you can ask more questions. We love your questions. All right. So Melissa wrote.
And by the way, if there's any questions after, Andrew, because there might be a lot, by all means, just send it to me. We'll make sure we get the answers to everyone.
Cool. Perfect. What do you find are the most efficient ways to communicate with your teams while social distancing?
Yeah, we're using a lot of Zoom meetings, conference calls, go-to meetings, things like that. I have to be honest, across the country, I'm fortunate to have such a phenomenal staff. I actually call a lot of them my friends, and we talk and email all day long and text. We've got some really good relationships, and it's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be scared. And I tell people, just reach out. You know, don't sit there at home all by yourself, just dwelling on something, because it can be scary if you're there by yourself. So just reach out, and we'll be honest with you.
Yeah, even though it's just the mental check-in calls, you know, just really...
Listen, I'm not going to call it his name, but we've got a long-term account executive that works for us. He's been here longer than I have. So now, like I said, I've been here for almost 12 years. Wow. And on a daily basis, Carl, we're going to be okay, right? We're going to be okay. And I go, yes, we're going to be okay. Yeah. Just stay focused.
Listen, there's a lot of companies I would be nervous about, but speaking to to promote actually our Facebook Live with Peter Norton next week, speaking to him gave me confidence that that not only REMN's going to be great, going to be okay, but going to be great. Like he's talking about the opportunities that he already sees. I mean, he's very transparent. It's not pretty. It's very ugly.
What's beautiful about Peter is that he's going to maybe sound positive and all that. He will be straight as can be with you. He's not going to just BS you to tell you what you want to hear just to make you feel good. He's going to be honest.
Yeah, that's for sure. So John Solero is the man. Michelle says so. I guess
he's my regional sales manager out in the Midwest. He's terrific.
Nice. Okay, fantastic. Let's go to my dad's question. Will what we learned from this crisis be helpful to build the future when it's over? And what is it we've learned from it most? So what are we pulling? What are good things that we're pulling from this that we'll walk away with?
I think that the relationship piece, right, being in touch with each other, supporting each other, I think is so important. And I think we're going to be able to learn possibly how to work maybe a little more remotely. Maybe we don't need those huge offices with everyone working in the office. It seems to me, from my experience just over the last couple of weeks, that our people are so productive, even more so at home, I think, although it is nice to have the face-to-face interaction.
I know. There's nothing that can replace that face-to-face. There's nothing that, when you overhear someone actually in the other queue talking about something, those are very powerful things. But something I gotta say, we have a standing 2 o'clock coffee break with all of our team members, and I feel more connected to my actually company now than I ever have before. So
because you're not seeing each other all day long, and you're not hearing the voice in the background, you're able to, because you feel like you haven't seen anyone or talked to them. You want to reach out more and talk to them more and communicate. But one thing to answer Joel's question, right, your dad, is that what I learned, I should have bought Zoom. I should have bought the Zoom stock.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah. So I mean, let me ask you this. I'm curious. The messaging that you guys are sharing on social media, what kind of messaging? Because it's interesting. So I see today, not you guys, but I've seen actually some companies clearly have not changed their auto scheduler for their content. They're promoting products that are there's
gone or changed. Yeah, you have to be up. You have to be right up on things on a timely basis.
So what kind of content are you guys putting out there on social media? You guys do a lot of email marketing. Have you done just a pause of everything? What is actually the look like from your external messaging? Because there are a lot of brokers out there they don't know. Should they be silent? Should they be putting information out there? Should they just be sheltering in place and locking down with a whiskey? I mean, what's what do you
right before I got on here with you, I was actually we had our company head Barry Abib do a webinar for our people, and one of the things that he was saying was that today more than ever you've got to be in front of your people, you've got to be in front of your customers. So social media is so important right now. So I would say this is not the time to back off. This is the time to be out more than you've ever done before. To answer your question, what are we promoting? What are we talking about? Well, over the last couple of years, there's been some price wars going on by some of the bigger players. And I think that as a result, the mid-sized to smaller sized companies have been getting maybe the less efficient type loan, not necessarily a lower FICO type loan, but less efficient. And that's caused issues, right? You want to make sure that the loans come in, they get closed quickly. So we made a conscious decision about a month and a half ago to turn our sales team around. So we came up with a new product, what we call a platinum product. And there's no criteria. It's not as if you have to give a certain amount of business to REMN Wholesale to get this pricing. So it could be 1 loan or 100 loans. It's for all government purchases, FHA, VA, and USDA, with a 680 and higher FICO and a minimum loan amount of $125,000. Literally one of the best price lenders out there in the country. And the decision that we made was not to be in the market now, bring all the brokers in to submit these loans. This is a long-term view of ours, and it's the key is to be consistent. So we know we have to pay for the higher quality, more efficient loans, and we're doing it, and we're willing to do this long-term. That's the product really, I think, is so key right now out there in the marketplace as the purchase market is so strong.
Wow, that's amazing. To hear actually you coming on talking about that, as we do go through a huge purchase market coming up. Another question from Michelle. And Michelle, keep them coming. We love your questions. Double questions from Michelle here. So would you consider Zoom meetings and more webinars from AEs to brokers? Is that something that you guys are going to be doing? Are you already doing that already?
Well, we're already doing it. We're already doing that. Yeah, we have through our training department, they assist our account executives with go-to webinars to be able to take care of that.
Fantastic. And next question is, do you offer training for your system? If so, is it available to watch? If not, no, you have plans. So you have
amazing question. Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, we have YouTube videos, we have instructional videos, and our account executives are very well versed. Our account executives have assistants as well that will actually get on there with you and help you. As well as we have an online help desk that with a chat feature to assist people on getting the loans uploaded. New portal, all homegrown, new LOS. It's really, really amazing. And that I think our last customer went on there the end of last year. So up and running, people really, really like it.
Oh, that's fantastic. It sounds like you guys were prepared. You were prepared. Actually, it doesn't sound like you had much of a transition. It seems like actually, while you preferred to have the belly-to-belly interactions, but as an organization, you guys seem like you were ready, prepared to go virtual. You have the training tools in place. You don't seem to have any hiccups, but I gotta imagine there's some kind of hiccup. There's something actually. I was just talking to someone yesterday, and they said, everything was perfect, everything went great, and they were meant. Oh my goodness, we forgot. We have 50 new people that we just hired that we now have to hire and go through our training program virtually. So what's something that blindsided you that you guys weren't prepared for?
Sure, and that is a challenge.
Hold on for a second. There's a shameless promotion for the REMN portal. Deborah wrote, REMN portal is one of the best in the industry.
Yes.
All right, Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate that. It only took us about 5 years to get this rolled out. So
Deborah Markman? Is it related?
No, come on. I don't know what Deborah Markman. One of the challenges, honestly, is what you just mentioned. So with all this negative news that is coming out, there's such opportunity. And one of the opportunities that I'm very fortunate to have is we just had a gentleman that was with a competitor, an inside national sales manager, Jim Mitchell, out of California. He just joined us just about a week or so ago, and he's got a team, an inside team that's going to be working side by side with our national team that's out in the field. We're strongly advocates of having a face-to-face sales staff. We've got an incredible sales team out there, and we're so lucky to have all of them, and tenure is incredible. But we're also looking to build as well. So we're hiring people because we do know we're going to get through this. And in the coming weeks or months, once this is all done, now what? Then what? So we have to stay ahead of the game. We don't want to wait till this is all over and then start looking to bring on people. This is the time to do it. This is the time to grow your business so you're prepared now for the next level here. So that's the challenge. And train 20 or 30 people via webinar is a different situation than training them with a couple webinars and then bringing them to headquarters like we normally do and have face-to-face meetings. And we have each of our departments go in and train them and talk to them about what their department's all about. Completely different. So that's obviously a challenge. Another challenge would be the guideline changes. You know, we always want to give people notice when there's a change, and sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, right? You make a guideline change with a minimum FICO, you give people 24 hours notice, you're going to get, right, thousands of locks. So, you know, you have to balance it out. So I do think that us, along with most of the competitors out there, are going to probably be better off after this is all over and better prepared for the next time, because the next time's going to happen, right? Might not be another decade, but it's going to happen eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to ask you one more question. We're going to wrap this up. I'm curious, is there anything actually that's happened from this whole experience, from the, you know, the quarantine, the quick shift to remote workplace, you know, that has had a positive impact on your life personally? So forget about the business side of it, because we've talked about the great efficiencies that have happened and how like REMN was like perfectly positioned for this, and REMN is in a thank God, knock wood, is in a stronger position, you know, because of things you did. But personally, what's something that's good that's happened to Carl? Because everyone's talking about all the bad things. I want to talk about something good that's happened to Carl Markman, the father, the husband, you know.
Wow. Well, from a negative perspective, like I said before, I feel like we're working around the clock, right? We have different time zones around the country, and REMN is licensed in every state around the country. And my rep, Brandy Young, out in Hawaii, you know, she's 6-hour time difference right now, right? So can't not pick up a phone at 11 o'clock at night or midnight. So I think from a personal standpoint, I think that relationships from my team are getting stronger. From a personal standpoint, I think that I value the time with my family more now because I'm not available during working hours and evenings. So this weekend, right after, I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock tonight, that's my family's time in this weekend. So I'm going to value that time much more than I did probably before all this happened.
Wonderful. All right, Carl, always great spending time with you. I can talk to you for hours. I really appreciate it. And again, everyone, I mean, watch, next week on Thursday, Peter Norton is going to tell it to you whether you like it or not. He's going to share it with it and the raw, unfiltered truth about capital markets. What actually is going to really happen to our industry. Peter Norton is someone who trades mortgage-backed securities for fun. I mean, that's basically, that's one of his hobbies, I believe. Some people trade stamps, he trades mortgage-backed securities. One more question. With Personal Peers out now, how can we share your voice? Wait, hold on for a second.
You need my glasses?
Yeah, please. With Personal Appearances out now, how can we share the great voice of your daughter, Justine Markman has?
Oh, wow.
All right.
Wow.
That's very, very specific. Is she
my daughter happens to be a musician. My daughter's in the West Coast. She's a musician. She's doing terrific. She's awesome. So she's on Spotify, Justine Markman, Justine Markman on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. But she's doing terrific. But it's scary out there now, so she's kind of staying inside.
Yeah.
She's not social right now, but yeah, she's incredible.
Great time to do some YouTube lives, Facebook lives, and get the music out there. I'll put a link to her Spotify channel in the comments here. But Carl, thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and I'm Andrew Berman for National Mortgage Professional. Thank you for watching.